Okay, today's notes are going to be on systems of inequalities. So we've got two steps with these. You're going to want to look at graphing oopsies. You're going to want to look at graphing a two variable inequality if you need to remind yourself on how to do these. It should be on the page before. It should look like that, okay, with some shading. So a system just means we're now graphing two or more on the same coordinate plane. So step one would be to graph each inequality on a single coordinate plane. And step two would be to use the test points or the shortcut to determine where to shade. So we've got two problems here. We're going to do both of them. Again, pause it, make your coordinate plane, all that stuff. I'm going to be using a highlighter. So you may, and a erasable pen, but you might want to use something of your choice. Okay, so the first one, we have two inequalities here. Both of them are linear. So the top one is nice and easy. Our y-intercept is 3. And our slope is up 2 over 3. And now when I connect it, I have to think, is it going to be dashed or solid? Because it has a line underneath, it's going to be solid, so I can just go ahead and connect those. Okay, the second line actually needs a little bit of work before we change that, so I'm going to do that off to the side. So the first thing I would do is add 2x over to the other side. So this would become negative y less than 2x plus 1. And then I would have to divide by negative 1. So, and whenever you divide by a negative, you have to flip the direction of the inequality. So this is now going to be greater than rather than less than. This is going to be negative 2x, and this is going to be negative 1. So that becomes that equation. So you do have to do a little bit of math for the second one. Your y-intercept is negative 1, and your slope is down 2 over 1. I'm going to connect this with a dashed line because there is no equals to. Okay, now we have to figure out how to shade it. So if we're looking at the top one, y is less than. I always look at the y-axis. Y gets smaller going down. So I would shade going down. So I'm just going to mark it like that. Okay, it would be on that side. If I look at now what I wrote as purple, y is greater than, that means y is bigger. So here's my line, and y gets bigger going up. So I would be on this side. So what I'm going to shade is where basically both sides would be shaded. So that would be in this part right here. This would be the answer. Okay, any point in there would work. Okay, and that's using the shortcut. I didn't use a test point. Easiest point to always test would be 0, 0. If it works for both, then 0, 0 would be a solution, which would work. But because I use the shortcut, because technically you may have to test 4 different points to see in which part it would be in, because it has to work for both equations. Here's the second one. Again, pause it if you need to. The second one, so we're going to graph, the top is going to be a line. My y-intercept is 3. And my slope is down 1 over 2. And that is going to be a solid line because of the equals. Right now, I'm just looking at it, and I know that my shading from looking at this is going to be y is less than. So on the y-axis, where does y get smaller? It goes down. So our shading would be kind of on this side of the line. But because it's a system, we have to actually take into account the other one. So if I graph this, this is a parabola. My vertex is at 3, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I go up, since my a value is 1, I go up by 1, go up by 3, go up by 5, and it is going to be symmetrical. When I connect those, it's not going to be solid. It's going to be dashed. So we do our best. It's not going to be perfect. Okay. Now I have to think about the shading. According to this, y gets bigger. So when I'm doing a parabola, I always find like our locator point. Here's our locator point. Where does y get bigger? Going straight up or going straight down? Going straight up. So my shading is going to be inside this parabola. So where does the shading, so it would be up here, up here, up here, up here. Where does the shading overlap? It overlaps right in this part here, below the line and above the parabola. So that would be that system. The other thing I will ask you is, so again, take your time, pause it, write it down. The other thing I'll ask you is to actually determine the system of inequalities. So in this problem, we actually have 3 lines. I'm going to mark them by using line segment AB. So line segment AB. Let's first work on that one. So for line segment AB, my y-intercept is 1, and my slope is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So y, my shading is below this, below the line. So that means y would get smaller going down. So y is less than. It is not equal to because this line is not solid. My slope is 1x. I don't need to write the 1, but for right now I will. And my y-intercept was positive 1. I also put these points so that when you guys do graph this, you can make it pretty accurate. Okay, this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So the next point, next line I'm going to do is AC, line segment AC. This is a horizontal line. You do have notes on horizontal lines. They're somewhere at the beginning. This would be a y because all of the y values are the same. -1, -1, -1, -1. So y is, since my shading is above that, y gets bigger. So greater than or equal to, because it's solid, -1. And then our last linear or line that we got to do is BC. So line segment BC. Unfortunately, we don't have the y-intercept, so we got to find it. So the first thing we're going to do is find the slope. So my slope would be down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. So my slope is negative 1 over, negative 6. Sorry, 6 over 1. So negative 6x plus b. I'm going to pick one of the points. I don't care which point. I'm going to go with 4, 5 because they're both positive. So y is my 5. And 4 is my x. So negative 6 times 4 plus b. And now I'm going to solve for b. So 5 is equal to negative 24 plus b. Add 24 to both sides, and I've got 29. So my B line is y is, and it's hard to tell with steeper lines, but this shading is below. So it's y is less than, it's solid because, so it's equal to. Our slope is negative 6x, and our y-intercept would be plus 29. This would be the answer to that system. It's like 3 different problems in one. Okay.